here we go. Okay. Uh, uh, okay. So here we go and kickstarting it formally. Valia, you can proceed. So these are one of the best things that do happen in online meetings. I was just speaking for about last couple of minutes and then just noticed that I was on mute. So I have put that put the meeting on record, and in order to kickstart it formally, Valia, you can get started now.
Thank you, Raja bhai. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to everyone. This is Valia Rizwan, a junior year folk pursuing computer engineering at School of Computer and Information Systems Engineering, DCSC, UET Peshawar. MLSA Club UET Peshawar, which is a tech community working under the technical wing of UET's flagship society, the Computer Society, which is home to cutting edge advanced technologies. We believe in peer to peer learning and always raise the flag of community culture. I am honored to host this amazing virtual gathering after a great halt. Welcome all the newbies from batch 23. This is why DCSC is so vibrant. We have most awaited speaker, Mr. Shreyan Fernandes, all over from India with us. Sir, we are really honored to have you. I would like to invite our lead, Mr. Raja Ahmed, to elaborate speaker's intro. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Valia. And again, it's been a lot of time since we have conducted our last event. So these are one of the best things that we have cherished and we will be cherishing in our future moments. So really thanks. And I must say, it's a nostalgic moment for all of us again in the future ahead. So, folks, hello, and welcome. Welcome to this amazing evening. I am Raja Ahmed. Hope you all know pretty well. So let's get started with the introduction of our esteemed speaker of today's session. We are joined with Mr. Shreyan Fernandes. Shreyan, okay, maybe some of the reverberations. Okay, so Shreyan is one of my best friends. Okay, let me have this. Maybe some of the reverberation from my end. Sorry for that. Okay, so Shreyan is one of my best friends, all over from India. He hails from Bangalore, and he's a final year lad at one of the most prestigious institutions all around the globe, the Manipal Institute of Technology. The fun fact is, he shares the same alma mater with Mr. Satya Nadella, who is the CEO of Microsoft. So, folks, in order to have this in a very informal way, I have suggested Shreyan to go bilingual in English and Hindi as well. So, अंग्रेज़ी पहले भी हम काफ़ी बोलते आए हैं और अभी भी हम बोलेंगे, लेकिन it would be a very diversified and a very inclusive moment for all of us to have this session in Urdu Hindi. So getting started, this is a very short intro of Shreyan, and now I just wanted to kick start it. Shreyan, we are honored to have you, and please elaborate what you have prepared and all that stuff. We are eager to know all the stuff. Over to you, Shreyan.
थैंक्स अ लॉट वलिया एंड राजा आई मीन बहुत अच्छा लगा कभी ऐसे फॉर्मल मीट्स में गया नहीं हूँ ज़्यादातर इनफॉर्मल ही रहते बट एनीवेज हे गाइस सो आई एम श्रेयन as Raja said, I'm from India and Bangalore, Karnataka. So I'm in my final year in Manipal Institute of Technology, Manipal. So without wasting much time, let's just deep dive into the topic. Um, Raja, let me know if you can see my screen.
Not yet. Yeah, it's visible. You can go ahead.
All right. Thank you. So again, hey there, I'm Shreyan Fernandes, currently a beta Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and I've worked in a startup before. I was actually a co-founder there for some time. It was an edtech startup. I've played the role as a president and the head of artificial intelligence division, and I have given a couple of lectures around colleges across South India. Then I'm also an incoming intern at KPMG India. I've recently joined and I'm an hackathon enthusiast right from my first year of the college. I love taking part in hackathons. My first hackathon that I ever took part was Code Fundu from Microsoft, in which I got a tour to go to Microsoft's office in Hyderabad as well. So I'm an MTA certified in Python, and I'm a blogger and a global speaker. I love giving talks and then introducing people to new technologies. My domains of interest lie in artificial intelligence, blockchain, DevOps, web dev, extended reality, uh, cloud computing, IoT robotics, and recently I've also started working on with Power Platform as well. And those are my links to GitHub, LinkedIn, and dev.to. So you can follow me there as well.
Folks, really sorry for all the inconveniences. Shreyan, you can unmute now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was on mute. All right. So today's agenda will be what is cloud and what is cloud computing. I know you guys know it much better than me, probably because these are the trending terms in any technologies today. Any field you take, there is cloud. Be it your simplest cloud, that's your Google Drive, right? So everything of this you might be knowing, but let's just see what else do we have in store, and then when is cloud optimal for you? When should you actually use a cloud as a student? As a developer, when would you choose using cloud over any other local machine or something? And where can Microsoft Azure play a pivotal role here? uh, कहाँ पे आप लोग Microsoft Azure को यूटिलाइज कर सकते हो, एंड वो आपके पैसे कैसे बचा सकता है, आपका काम कैसे कम कर सकता है, सब कुछ देख लेंगे इसमें. एंड हाउ कैन Microsoft Azure हेल्प यू इन डेवलपमेंट, लाइक बहुत टाइम्स ऐसे आते हैं जब हम लोगों को पूरा डेवलपमेंट नहीं करना होता है. वी इवन लुक आउट फॉर एपीआईज, राइट? अगर एपीआई मिल जाता तो हम लोगों का काम आसान हो जाता. So we'll just look into all those things, that how is Microsoft Azure helping us in this. It's a very innovative platform, I must say. So let's see how, when I get there, I'll explain that in depth. So again, finally, क्यों Microsoft Azure use करना है? There are many more cloud, right? Cloud platforms like Google Cloud है, GCP, and then Amazon. Of course, हर एक cloud उसके जगह पे सही है, पर why Microsoft Azure use करना चाहिए हमको, या फिर क्यों उसी पे हम focus करेंगे आज? So then, without further delay, let's see what is cloud and what is cloud computing. In very simple terms, you just get your computing resources over your internet. अगर 10 साल पहले की बात, 10-15 साल पहले की बात देखते हैं, तो if you had to kind of have your own website hosted over internet, then you had to set up your whole small tiny data center over there. Be it your you had to buy your own server, then kind of you would incur many capital expenditure as well as operational expenditure as well. But over the advent of time, technology moved, and then we had new things coming in, and that's where cloud also came in, and then someone else has hosted their data centers, and all we do is we just hire the resources and make the best out of it, right? So what are those resources that we hire on the cloud? Firstly, compute servers, right? For example, your virtual machines and stuff like that, they come under compute server. Storage slash the databases, like blob storage, for example, on Azure, or any such things like that. Finally, analytics and intelligence, like this can be any other services, be it your AI services or anything else. So interact with people in natural ways, be it your conversational AI or anything like that. So these are the things that you get over the internet. So that is, in simple terms, what you call a cloud, right? So let's see how where did cloud evolve from. So initially in 1877, that was the first milestone that we ever had. where we had a grand calculator in 1877, and then there was a voder in 1939. That's where electronics started evolving, because electronics and software go hand in hand, right? So we also need that compute power as well. For example, laptops that you purchase now have a much better version of probably, Intel or any other processor than when you compare it to a 10-year-old laptop. So that's how technology keeps on evolving every time. So electronics and this software goes hand in hand, that's what you can say. So the first thing in 1969 was a shaky robot, reasoning robot, and then a graphical user interface was developed in 1981. That's when you can say the advent of computers started. And then voice recognition started in 1992. VAM self-driving car came in 1994 itself. Like, it is still under the research. Teslas and all are still roaming out there, but still it's going in a tremendous research in many fields, right? So you might be shocked that artificial intelligence, which has reached such a boom today, actually started in 1950s in the Dartmouth conference, right? So uh, it takes time research for every technology to evolve, and even cloud has come all the way from there. It was kind of someone's back idea probably from that time. And even Microsoft Azure was initially called the Project Red Dog. If I don't know how many of you are aware of this. So it was called Project Red Dog initially, and then it was rebranded to Azure very recently, I guess 10, 12 years back. And then we have the way ahead here, that is cloud and AI. Probably you might have heard, now we are moving on to the next generation of the web, that is Web 3.0. So how can AI, cloud, and like other players like extended reality, blockchain can play a major role here? So that is the way out from here. So the next milestones that we are supposed to hit here is managing the big data. Computing powers must be managed very well, and also the powerful algorithms, right? So algorithms are very, very important for us to uh, in order to do anything in that case, right? So that's how the way ahead we have in the evolution of computing. So without boring you much, let's just see what is the advantages that cloud gives you. Firstly, the security. Definitely there have been a huge contribution in this field of security when cloud came in, and then there have been loopholes as well. But overall, what we can say in today's technical word, or today's tech buzz, uh, cloud is the most secured platform that you can ever have. Because for example, if you're logging a data onto a database, let's say in Microsoft Azure, that actually gets encoded and no one can decode it so easily. Even Microsoft cannot access anyone's database like that. So that is the kind of security we have on cloud. And of course, the privacy and security go hand in hand again. And the resilience is low, and that's because of the high availability of the cloud. And the scalability, because let's say you're hosting a e-commerce website there, and let's say you have Eid coming up, or you have something like that, you have a sale put up, your traffic will definitely increase there. So what will you do at that time? You cannot keep on scaling uh, manually, right? You don't even know what is the traffic. So what cloud does for you is it automatically scales the required resources, and that's what we call as scalability, in order to uh, for you function smoothly everywhere. And of course, the costs, that's what I told initially. Capital expenditure and operational expenditure are the two types of expenditures that we can look into if you are not getting into the cloud initially. So let's say capital expenditure is something that you have to put in from your own pocket if you want to set up your own server, or set up some computers, some servers with all the softwares, cooling facilities and stuff like that. Because when machines run, they produce heat, right? Especially the electronics produce it. With your small mobile, if you just play a simple game, your mobile is all heated up, then you have to provide some cooling process for that. So similarly, even if you run your own server, you'll have to give out your cooling for that as well. So that's what all these charges can be kind of kept under the one time investment, what you can say, that can be kept under capital expenditure, and that's what we call as capex cost. And then comes the operational cost. You need your internet, you need your electricity, you need that cooling system, and then whatnot, other costs that are incurred. For example, servicing of your servers and stuff like that, that go under your operational expenditure. So if you see that, if you are supposed to set up your own server in that case, so your capex and opex costs are pretty high always. But that's where cloud saves you, and that's why we say cloud is comparatively lower cost solution when compared to your regular, what do you say, the way, right? So now let's get into what Microsoft Azure has in store for us. So at the lowermost place we can see the data center infrastructure. So as I said, someone else is hosting the servers for you, and you know what goes into a server. There is orchestrator and stuff like that. So everything of that is hosted for you by Microsoft in this case, because it's the cloud from Microsoft. So Microsoft handles all the data centers across the globe, right? So all you have to worry about is hosting your own application or whatever you want to do with the cloud, right? That's what you're worried about, and there is no need to worry about क्या मेरा सर्वर चलेगा, या फिर मुझे क्या एक्स्ट्रा इसको क्या कहते हैं वो एक्स्ट्रा कंप्यूट देना पड़ेगा, या फिर मुझे कुछ और चीज़ें ऐड करनी होंगी. That's something that is worry that Microsoft must do and not you, right? So they have a very well fully fledged maintained data centers across the globe, so there is no downtime and or anything like that. So in compute, if we see, there are two things, that is virtual machines and containers in Azure Kubernetes services. This is what I can say is that in DevOps जो field अभी आ रहा है, that's what. And then if you go to storage, then there is blob, queues, files, and disks. And in networking, you have virtual networks, load balancers, DNS servers, and then express route, and you can see all the other things over there. And then in hybrid cloud, you have all those things. And intelligence, this is one of the personal favorites, you can say, the intelligence services that Azure provides you. What we can put it under the umbrella of cognitive services, bot services, and uh, Azure ML Studio. Of course, the Azure ML Studio is now probably being retired very soon, but definitely they have a replacement in store, and they have renamed it as Azure ML Service altogether. So, in which you have that low code designer as well. So again, you might be very much intimidated by looking into all this. अरे मुझे code करना आना चाहिए, या फिर I must be interested in coding in order to do this. But that's never the case. You know, I am not much of a coder, but still I'll just show you a few of the projects that I've worked on. So there is absolutely no need to, like, be a better coder, or be an extreme coder for that case. You have to just have that knowledge of what is what, a little bit of theory here and there, a little bit of understanding, and that's all. You're good to go. There is no need that you have to be, like, a very top coder. Just for example, when I say machine learning, when I ask any one of you to, like, train a model, the first thing that you guys have in mind is, of course, the data set. वो सब तो ठीक है, पर उसके बाद क्या, data set को load करना है, and then you'll have to have that pre-processing step wherein you have to clean the data, fill the missing data, and then probably, like, ऐसे बहुत सारे steps होते हैं. So and then उसके लिए अलग से कोड लिखो, pandas यूज करो, numpy यूज करो, है ना. चीजें ऐसी चीजें you'll think on going in this. But again, there is a very simple solution for you. If you don't want to code, then definitely you can go ahead to Azure Machine Learning Service, or uh, till 2024 or 2023, I guess you'll have Machine Learning Studio as well, just for your practice. Probably you can use it till then, and then you can have your own model without even writing a single line of code. That is what that is where we have moved on in artificial intelligence. Then coming on to data, you have SQL database server, Cosmos database server, and table storage, Azure Cache for Redis, and so on and so forth. And when it comes to developer services, then of course this is where what we say SDKs or something like that, right? Microsoft SDKs, for example, Visual Studio is a platform which I think every one of us know what is Visual Studio. Mobile engagement, Xamarin is a platform specially for developing mobile applications, just like Flutter, and then Azure DevOps, uh, Application Insights, and App Center. Compute services are again here: Dev Test Lab, Azure Batch Service, Container Service, and so on and so forth. API integration, media, and CDN. I'll not bore you with this chart. Instead, what I've thought today is I'll just show you guys the real portal, how it looks like, how to create a small resource as well. We'll just look into the hands-on of that, because uh, even if I tell a lot of theory, but again, at the end of the day, what matters is how you guys execute things, right? That's what matters. And of course, it has a set of IoT services as well. So before moving ahead, I would just like to show you how I have utilized Azure in a few of my projects. So this was one of the projects in which I was trying to have a digital clone of a let's say a bike or a vehicle, right? Especially when it comes to racing vehicles, for example, motorsport vehicles, they have a lot of fatality rates wherein they crash into each other, or like, something or the other happens. And most of the times it has been a case that the main reason was found out to be a bug in the vehicle. Oh, sorry, not a bug. What am I saying? A small trouble in the vehicle. Let's say there was a low tire pressure or something like that. The vehicle was couldn't be monitored throughout the track, throughout the race event. So what we did, we came up with a solution for this, and then we created a digital clone of the vehicle, a 3D model of the same vehicle. Let's say if it's a bike, there's a bike onto your screen, which can, and also sensors are mounted onto that bike, which keeps a track and keep sending the data to this IoT hub, and then you can keep on monitoring it. Let's say you have any anomalies detected there, you can definitely alert the rider that yes, you have an anomaly, please get back to the pit line and get it fixed as early as possible. So we can save a life of that, like that racer or someone like that. So that was the whole idea here. So let's see how we utilize Azure for this. So this is, let's say, the sensor that I'm using, any sensor, I haven't named it as such. And then it would log the data directly to this event stream. It is something, this is the IoT hub, and this is something I'll be showing you. This is a service that Azure provides you, and this is the stream analytics service. And then this is how they were interconnected with each other. We had a backend server running, as well as it was to communicate with the API, the web, the front end of our application, right? That is the UI web app, in which we had inculcated a 3D model as well, and it would stream the data right onto the spot. Let's say if it's a tire data, it would stream onto the tire saying that yes, this is the PSI of your tire currently. And then if it's a battery level, it could have it used to show your battery level. And if it's a fuel thing that it is checking, it will show your fuel level. So it went on like that. But uh, the most notable point is that all this was possible because of Azure here, because we were using Azure somewhere to make our task much simpler. Because again, setting up a event stream and then hosting it and then connecting it, it is something very hard. I have to use a Blink IoT application. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this things that we use in IoT, Internet of Things. So for prototype scale level, we use this Blink, ThingSpeak, stuff like that, right? Node-RED and things like that. So definitely it's a very long way, it's a very tedious process for me to integrate everything and then get things done. But Azure here came as a lifesaver to me when we had to integrate things. So it had a database, it had its own connectors for Power BI for better monitoring, and it had its own anomaly detector algorithm set for me to like see the anomaly in the data and predict whether my bike is gonna meet with a mishap or not because of the technical errors in the bike, right? So everything was there in place. All I had to do is I had to just connect the dots. It was that simple for me. And even the servers we had hosted were already there, the web apps were already there. It has a web app service as well. So this is how I could um, build a fully functionable prototype in, like, very less amount of time and with very less energy invested into that. So this was one of the project. And then moving on, this was, I think, you can see this architecture on Microsoft Learn. This project of mine, uh, it was a team project. It is also published on Microsoft Learn as a module, right? So here my task was to connect the Azure Health Bot, which is again a bot framework specially for healthcare purposes, to a SQL database that was again hosted on Microsoft Azure. So I had to use a connector because, as we know, we cannot directly connect our bots to the backend. We need someone in between. Like, if you go to a restaurant, हम लोग किसी रेस्टोरेंट में जाते हैं, तो हम सीधा किचन में घुस के खाना लेके नहीं आते हैं, राइट? हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग जाके टेबल पे बैठते हैं, एक वेटर आएगा जो आपसे पूछेगा आप क्या लेना चाहते हो। तो हम जैसे ऑर्डर करते हैं कुछ जो हमको खाने में मन करता है, सो हम उसको ऑर्डर करते हैं, एंड देन वो वेटर खुद जाके किचन तक जाके वो जो खाना जो अभी बना हुआ है या फिर बना रहा है, वो वहाँ से आपके टेबल तक लाके रख देगा। सिमिलरली थिंग्स गो हियर एज वेल। सो ये जो वेटर का जो काम है, दैट इज डन टू यू बाय योर API. For here, in this case, I used Azure Logic App for that case. You can even go ahead and use the serverless compute, that is Azure Functions as well. So even that worked absolutely fine. But I thought Azure Logic App is something that, very easy to use, because again, considering the low code uh, things that it offers me, right? So I thought that's the best way. And then from Azure Health Bot, I connected it to the Logic app, and from Logic app I connected it to the SQL server, and intern SQL server is connected to the SQL database by default. Again, ये जो चीज़ है SQL server database वाली चीज़ है, that is handled by Microsoft Azure for me. There is no need, absolutely no need for me to sit and crack my head how to kind of link server and the database, because that is already in place, and all I have to do is enter my ID and password, and that's all. I'm good to go. My data is directly logged into this database. If you guys want to know more about this project, I would drop a link at the end of the session. You can go out and check it out. There's a whole learning path around how to build your own conversational bot as well. Probably you can use it in your projects and stuff like that. I'll leave a link to that at the end of the session. So again, there is the then the next part. This is my other project where I worked with a mobile application. So we had used Flutter for the development, and but again, a part of it which I felt easy was again hosted on Microsoft Azure. So again, here we use this custom vision API where we had to figure out the brands, like let's say for example Gucci, or be it your H&M, or be it your KFC, anything like that, Pizza Hut, or whatever you name, McDonald's. So I wanted to kind of differentiate in between these brands. So I wanted to train this model, and I use the classification model, very simple, that is available on Custom Vision. And then there was a wallet service as well, so in which I use this decentralized wallet. Again, I work more with blockchain these days, so I thought we can make it decentralized, more secured. And then if I go on talking about blockchain, it will take the whole of the time. So but again, blockchain is something that I feel it's more secure, so went ahead and used it. And as a boost to Web 3.0, it would be a great thing for the project as well. So I used it on blockchain workbench, that is again hosted on Microsoft Azure. I know when we have to I don't know how many of you are here familiar with your blockchain development, but it is a tedious process if you see, because you have to write your code in a Solidity format if you're using Ethereum, and then you will have to use Web3.js in order to connect it to the front end, and then you'll have to have this MetaMask extension, and a lot of things go on there. But trust me, Microsoft Azure provides you such a solution where you just have to upload your what do you say, your Solidity file and a JSON file. Your app is readily deployed for you. You can share it with anyone. Your backend is just good to go. Your just work is to just write a piece of Solidity. Even the JSON script is uh, self-generated when you compile that code, right? So all you need to do is just know a little bit of Solidity. Even if you don't know Solidity, you can go ahead. There is a low-code platform for Solidity. It's a third-party application. You can just go connect the blocks, get your Solidity code, convert it, and you're good to go. So all those who used to feel that blockchain is kind of very much, it's only for those people who are much into coding, or you have to be a better coder, or things like that. As a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, I used to have my webinars and stuff like that, and at the end of webinar या फिर शुरू में ही मुझे बल्क मेल सेंड करने होते थे। तो ऐसे नहीं कि 100-200 लोगों को मैं खुद एक-एक ईमेल आईडी टाइप करके उनको मेल्स करते जाऊँ। So that would not be feasible for me. It's not a like it's not a solution for me, definitely बहुत टाइम ले लेगा मेरे से। So what you can do, you can use Power Automate here. That I personally have used Power Automate to send emails, to send certificates and whatnot, right? Because it's a tedious task for me to send it to everyone. So that's when you can use Power Automate. So basically, in short, you can use it for any automation that you want. And Power Virtual Agents is your intelligent virtual agents that are again constructed with a low code. And इसी में there are in order to use them, you have to be familiar with some terminologies. There are data connectors, different data connectors. For example, let's say data connectors को मैं यूँ कह सकता हूँ कि कोई एक बंदा है जो एक ओपन सोर्स कोड लिख रहा है, वो उसको पब्लिश कर रहा है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट पावर प्लेटफॉर्म पे, वो एक एपीआई की तरह आपको सर्व करेगा, एंड आप उस एपीआई को कंज्यूम करके आपका एप्लीकेशन बना सकते हो. So that is in very layman terms I can say what are data connectors, but it is very much in depth. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to Microsoft Learn. Again, there is a huge learning path across Microsoft Power Platform. AI Builder is again one such thing, and Common Data Services again. So as the thing says, it's a low-code platform that spans Office 365, Azure, Dynamics 365 and standalone applications. Azure पे भी there is this Azure Logic apps जिसमें आप लोग automation कर सकते हो. लो कोड चीज़ें आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो, एंड देन देर आर डेटा कनेक्टर्स ऑन दैट एज वेल. So, okay. If you want to learn more about whatever I've spoken so far, if you want to deep dive in more, like let's say मुझे practical चीजें चाहिए, I want to activate a sandbox, I want to try it on my own, right? And even if you feel like, you know, इसके बाद मुझे एक trophy मिले, like, you know, you get a digital trophy and you can showcase it on your CV that yes, मैंने ये किया, Microsoft Learn पे मुझे इतना trophies है. You can publish that profile as well. So if you want to do that, head over to Microsoft Learn platform, and then you can start learning from there as well. So with this I will stop the PPT session here because I know बहुत ज़्यादा ज्ञान हो गया. अभी let's get into the practical aspect, and let's explore Azure together here. So let me know if you can see my screen.
Uh,
Ajay, is my screen visible?
yes, John, it's visible.
All right. So let me just go ahead. Fine. So I'm sorry I've zoomed it out because I used to take screenshots for some of my blogs and stuff. Anyway, so first thing that you आप लोगों को जो पहला requirement है, you'll need access this portal. So I'm sure all of you must be having your email IDs that are being given to you from your university that will serve, which proves that you are a student at some university. So definitely you have an option to, I think, avail $100 credits. I don't know, in my time it was $100. I'm not sure अभी क्या limit है उसका, but I'm pretty sure it's around $100 limit minimum. So you can go ahead, activate your account on portal.azure.com. So you can just log into that. There's a small process that you have to follow. It's very easy. All you have to do is put your account details and put your university details and stuff like that, and this you're good to go and utilize this thing. So firstly, you'll have the subscription called as Azure for Students, but here you can see mine is a Visual Studio subscription. I don't know where is it. Anyway, mine is a Visual Studio subscription here because MLSs get this thing. So Visual Studio Enterprise is what we get. We get $50 as well. So this is how your portal looks like. Ignore these services that this I've created for a few of my projects. If you want to create new services, you can go ahead and click on create a resource. And here you can see that in getting started, you have a few resources here. In recently created, okay, these were the things that I recently used. Then in the categories, especially you have AI plus machine learning. Under that you have machine learning. This is what I was talking about, the low code platform. If you're comfortable in coding, you can go ahead and use the machine learning for, you know, with coding. You can use your own frameworks like, you know, TensorFlows, things like that. You can use all those things as well on Azure. But if you are not very much comfortable in coding, there is a designer as well. And then there is Cortex Certify, and then there is computer vision, face, language service, data science virtual machines are available, and a lot more things. So let's say you want to create, I think these will take some time. I'll show you by creating a computer vision at the end. And then for analytics, you have all these things. So basically this helps you to do much more things and stuff like that. Let's say you don't know what is analysis service, right? Let's say you're absolutely a beginner to this platform. So all you can do is you can go ahead and just click on this. There's a simple doc here. So you can click on doc. It will take you a doc where it will show you what is what, create a server, and then everything step. If let's say you don't find any certain learning path or anything like that on Microsoft Learn, then doc is your next solution to go and find it out. And then the next service here is blockchain. Again, this service, it was one of the wonderful services that I've ever used. I utilized this service I guess a year ago, but unfortunately as of September 10th, it is प्रॉब्ली वो हम लोग अभी आगे से यूज़ नहीं कर पाएंगे, पर इसका एक उन्होंने ऑल्टरनेट सर्विस भी लॉन्च किया इन एसोसिएशन विद कंसेंसस, and that's what we call as quorum blockchain. I'll just show that to you in a while. All those things are available in the marketplace. I'll just tell you what is marketplace as well. And I think कुछ minutes पहले मैंने बोला था कि मैंने एक लो कोड प्लेटफॉर्म यूज किया था ब्लॉकचेन वाला, एंड दैट इज दिस वन, Azure Blockchain Workbench. If you want, you can just click on learn more, and then you'll be taken to this document, and then you can see क्या है क्या नहीं है इसमें, right? And I'm sorry, I think it was here. And Ethereum proof of authority protocol that we follow, right? So वो भी है on Azure, but I would suggest you guys to not use this on Azure because it is being deprecated and it might be suspended as well very soon. So there are alternatives on this on Azure itself, so you can go ahead and explore them. Then there is Chaincore Edition, and you can see Ethereum Studio, so on and so forth. And coming to compute service, which I think most of us will be using on a regular basis, right? For example, virtual machine is something that we know what is a virtual machine and stuff like that. And what is virtual machine skill set is something, you can use it for an enterprise level and things like that. Kubernetes services, function app is for those who are into serverless computing and stuff like that. And then all on compute is available for you. As I said, computing is available for you over the internet now. That is the boon of cloud computing, and here you can see all those things. Then there are container services as well. I think जिनको DevOps में पसंद इंटरेस्ट है, वो लोग इसको एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं. Web app for containers, web app for Kubernetes services, and a lot more things like that. You can databases. There are a variety of databases that you can use for variety of storage things. SQL is the simplest one that you can use on Microsoft Azure. If you're a beginner, I would suggest you to go ahead and use SQL database, and then play your hands, play around with it for some time, and then probably you can switch on to Cosmos DB. It's a little more advanced than what SQL offers you, and things like that. And going to DevOps Starter Kit, there is developer tools. These are the developer tools that I just showed you a while ago on the PPT as well. And DevOps Starter Kit, एंड देन देयर इज आइडेंटिटी. ये सब इतना आप लोगों को डेवलपमेंट में काम नहीं आता जितना आपको ये चाहे कंप्यूट आता हो या फिर ए आई प्लस मशीन लर्निंग आता हो. कंटेनर्स आते हैं, डेटाबेसेस आपको बहुत हैंडी टूल आते हैं, डेवलपर टूल. सो डेफिनेटली इट्स फॉर any developer. And then this is what I was telling, Logic App, a very low code application for creating your own APIs. You can just play around with that. You can automate a few things here as well. Like let's say if I get a mail, I want to send a thank you message back to this emailer. So if you want, of course, ये जो भी चीज मैंने बोली, this is a very simple application and it is also available on few of the email services as well. But let's say you want to do it on your own, right? अगर आपको खुद से करना हो तो आप लॉजिक ऐप के थ्रू उसको कर सकते हो. एक ऑटोमेशन, सिंपल सा ऑटोमेशन एग्जांपल बताया मैंने इधर. एंड देन एपीआई मैनेजमेंट आपको चाहिए, सर्विस बस क्या होता है, चीज़ें ऐसे, यू कैन डू ऑल दीज थिंग्स. एंड देन प्रॉब्ली जो लोग सेंसर्स के साथ काम करते हैं, या फिर for example, if you want to work in healthcare, telemedicine sector, or be it racing export sectors, or be it your military defense applications, or anything else where you have to utilize some sensor. For example, supply chain ho sakta hai, anything like that. You have to use somewhere, like all these cases are something that you cannot accomplish only through software. A stand-alone software can never help you to get a valid or like a very feasible solution. तो इसके लिए ऑन साइड इंटरनेट पे आपको चीजें आ सकती है. लेट्स से एक टोल गेट है, राइट? टोल गेट पे अभी क्या हुआ है, आई डोंट, here you have this something called as a tag. Fast tag is what we call it. So as soon as your vehicle reaches that particular toll gate, there's a camera that scans, and then immediately आपके पैसे कट जाते हैं. Let's say 20, 20, 30, 40, how many ever uh, in units, it gets just deducted from your wallet. So ये सब कैसे possible हुआ? It's a boon of IoT. Let's say a vehicle goes and stands there. There's a camera in front of you which scans that. What do you say? I forgot the name. ध्यान में, I'm not getting that exact word. RFID tag. Yes, your RFID tags are being scanned, and then immediately it sends this thing to your server, whichever is located on your cloud, and from that place you get this message that yes, when you search with that tag number, you get, okay, this vehicle is linked to this tag, and this vehicle is currently in this toll gate, XYZ toll gate, right? And वहाँ पे there is no need for you to wait for a long time. ये सब all this happens in a fraction of seconds. You won't even realize कि कब हुआ, कैसे हुआ, right? So all this happens in a fraction of second, and this is what IoT has offered us. In precisely, I can tell you, this is a boon of IoT Edge, and वो gate within a fraction of second वो gate आपको रास्ता clear करेगा, and then you can just drive away from there, and your money gets deducted as well. So इतनी चीजें जो I just explained are happening in a fraction of seconds. uh, imagine the compute power that is being involved, and it is not just your vehicle. There are thousands, lakhs, crores of vehicles on the roads out there, right? So all these are being tracked, and like कहीं पे भी एक outrage नहीं हो रहा हो. Of course कभी कभार हो सकता है, but बहुत ही rare case में ऐसे outrages आएंगे. And this is a boon of IoT, I must say, because on site पे एक camera है जो scan करेगा, and probably you can go ahead and use IoT Edge for this. IoT Edge is something that computing over a very short span of time, a very short span, immediate, जैसे अभी मैंने बोला था, that's a very suited example for IoT Edge as well. And Event Grid is something you can use. IoT Hub device provisioning services, IoT Hub. I had used IoT Hub. Even IoT Hub is equally fast, but IoT Edge is specially built for the speed. And digital twins is a mixture of, it can be used under MR and as well as in IoT as well. As I said, what is a digital twin? For example, let's say I have my mobile, right? तो मुझे क्या करना है, मुझे मोबाइल का ही एक क्लोन मुझे पीसी पे आई हैव टू प्रोजेक्ट इट, एंड देन आई हैव टू सी व्हाट इज माय बैटरी लेवल, व्हाट इज माय what is my status of my network, whether I have full network or there is no network, stuff like that. ये सब मुझे अगर देखना है तो I can simply go ahead and do a digital twin of my phone. ये तब काम आता है जब आपको कोई व्हीकल मॉनिटर करना हो या फिर चीज़ें ऐसी होती हैं in that cases. And then there is IT management tools. This is probably Simba Chain, as I said, it is again a low code platform for getting your forgot that name, sorry, blockchain solidity code, right? So Simba chain is something that you can use to generate a solidity code. Again, that is inculcated on Azure. That is why I said Azure is something that it is like a lifesaver for every developer. It saves a lot of time for you. It saves a lot of tension. It saves you from a lot of tension, stuff like this. And then migrations, for example, if you want to migrate from one place to other, let's say I just told you that blockchain service is being deprecated or it's being suspended. So now the users, those who are using the service, need to migrate to a better service, right? So there are migration services available as well, or let's say you want to migrate to whole different place, so you can use this. And then there is mixed reality solutions as well. Web 3.0 जो भी metaverse पे काम करना चाहता है, या फिर जिसको भी कुछ ऐसे कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजीज के साथ काम करना हो, प्रॉब्ली जिसको MR या फिर XR एबिलिटीज अपने एप्लीकेशंस में डालने की इच्छा हो, so he can go ahead and they can go ahead and use Azure Spatial Anchors. In this case, it's a very, very useful tool for you. I mean, you'll need some time to get familiarized with it, but once you get familiar, I mean, no one can stop you from creating those innovative solutions. And then there is monitoring services. Networking is again very, very much necessary here. Security, storage, and as I said, web applications. You can host your own websites and stuff like that. Cognitive search and API management, again, all these are available on Azure. You can try out each and every services, whatever fits the best for you, whatever fits the best for your solution. So as I said, you can create one, you can resource one, you can do that, you can do okay. Just before going ahead to the final phase, let me just tell you what is a marketplace. Because marketplace is somewhere, where a third party applications or a third party APIs, third party things, or even be it in association with Microsoft or anyone else, those who want to give their piece of software to Microsoft, can host it on this particular marketplace. And this is where you can find things like that. For example, you can say NVIDIA GPU optimized in images for TensorFlow. This is something that you can use for your artificial intelligence things. And then there is again one from PyTorch, and then uh, Armor Box for Azure Sentinel, and things like that. So all these are something that, in collaboration with some other third party company or anything like that, basically something in association with Microsoft can be done here. It's not exactly purely from Microsoft, but it is something, Microsoft has certified to be published. Microsoft has certified them to publish their piece of software on their platform. So, for example, IDM Cloud, and then Cortex Certify Azure. There's something from I think IBM Cloud has given some service and things like that. So you can just browse through anything for that. So this is for AI plus machine learning. Again, the same thing follows here. For example, let's say blockchain has these many. I just told you that they have kind of uh, kind of collaborated with a firm, and that is I think is available here. It's called Consensus Firm. So let me just find for that. If you are not able to find it there, you can use this search bar, which is again a very handy tool for you. So let's say quorum, and here you go, quorum dev start kit. And this is by this company called as Consensus, which is again one of the leading company who's pioneering in blockchain as well, in many fields. So that is about your marketplace. So all the third party applications can be found there as well. So if you are not able to find your required API or your required solution, so you can always head over to the marketplace and explore. The chances are that you have a great chance of finding your required set of APIs available in that marketplace as well. So now let's see how to create a simple API here. Sorry, not API, a simple service here. So if I just go to, like, let's say computer vision, right? Or I think it was for custom vision. Yes, so it's for custom vision. So if you can go ahead here and just type custom vision, and I have created one, so it is taking some time to load, but I'll create a new one for you guys here. So let's go ahead and click on new, click on new. So let's say create options. So this is the form that this is the user interface that you can see initially if you go to create any of the new resource. So creating option, let's say I want to do prediction and training both on that service, right? So I'll keep that. And then this is something which is common in every single uh, so every single resource that you create. It will first ask you for your subscription. As I told you in the beginning itself, आपका अगर email ID है जो आपको अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी से मिली है, तो आप उसको माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एजर पे रजिस्टर करके you can get this thing called as Azure for Students, and you can use it. But since I have mine, so I'll just go ahead and choose Visual Studio Enterprise. And now coming to this resource group. So let's say you are working on a project, as I just showed you a while ago about this project. So let's say I name this project as something project X. Okay. So I have created one custom vision API here. I have a backend server here. I have a database here. I have a blockchain workbench here. I have a GoQuorum service here. So now all these services, I want to keep it under a single bucket, right? Or I have to store it under a single place, because I don't want to get confused कि मैंने यार ये custom vision किस project के लिए use किया था. मुझे confusions नहीं चाहिए. So what I can do, I can keep it well arranged in a place. And this is what we call it as a resource group on Microsoft Azure. So let's say here I have created these many resource groups. So let me go ahead and create. So let's say Azure demo, for example. So I'm giving one, and this is my resource group for now. So this will hold all those resources that I create under this resource group, right? And then you can go ahead and choose a region where you want to deploy your which data center do you want to access. For example, there are a few more: West US, West Europe, UK, Southeast Asia. Usually it is preferred that you use your nearest data center, right? It is not necessary, but it is always preferred. I always choose West Europe or Central India. I don't know, I usually choose West Europe, I don't know why. And there's no specific reason, you can choose whatever you want. And then give a name. Let's say demo. I'll just give a demo as my name here. And training resource pricing tag I can. Okay, it's already a demo one. Okay, let me just give another name. I'm sorry, demo one. Okay. Um, Finally accepted one, demo one custom. And then training resource, I have to choose a tier. You can choose a free tier, or if you want to pay, what's the difference between both is that, as you can see, it's 2 transactions per second, and you can just have 2 projects hosted on that, not more than that. It won't allow you. And in the standard tier, you can have 10 transactions per second. So if you're having a very organizational level, kind of a project, then I would suggest you to go ahead and use standard. If you're having a prototype scale or in that level of project, if you're looking for, definitely free tier is more than enough for you guys. And prediction, keep both for free here. And then if you want, you can go ahead and check on network. But usually what I do, you can check for networks, you can check for tags as well. But usually what I do, I just fill in this all these required details, and I just hit on review and create. And then it runs a validation here. checking. This is just to check whether what are the details we have provided, whether is it matching with that, or is it available to provision that thing, is what is done here. Once you can see that validation is passed, you can get this green tick, and it'll say that yes, your validation is passed, you can go ahead now. And then I'm just clicking on create. So till it creates, I won't waste your time because I've already created a one more here. So let me go ahead and use it. um it doesn't take much time usually, but it again depends. Let me just go ahead and use this, something I had used for one of my previous hackathon. So to access that, you can click on custom vision portal. It will again ask you to sign in here, so you can see what you can do here. So sign in and then agree to the terms, and here you go. You can create your new project here. Just click on OK, and then if you want to switch directory. So for example, you can see I had done one for cell calculation, malaria detection, right? So something had used it for one of my project. So let me just show you. Okay, these were some of the images that I had given it. Don't mind, these are all the cellular images I've used. So again, I've used these images, and all I can do is I can just train this model after this, and then for a quick test I can just let me just save this image for now. um, I'll save it under documents. Okay, it's saving it as all files. Never mind. So you can just use this. So this is tagged under malaria. So let me see if there is something under normal RBC. Okay, so these are the normal RBC ones, right? So now I can just click on train. So all that I have to do is I have to just upload a thing, and then I have to just click on train. And that's as simple as it can be, right? It's a quick training that I'm choosing. I'm just click on training. Okay, so because I haven't done anything, so let me just remove a few tags. Okay, so now I'll click on train and I'll click on quick training, and this is iteration number 3, because there were 2 more iterations that were done previously by my teammates. And so clicking on it, is it training? Yeah, it's sorry, it's already training. So till then, let me see what had happened in my previous iterations, right? So it was having a count of 75 and 52 images, because these images were hard to find for us as well, and the precision was 100%. Don't mind this, because it was just a test thing that I was doing here. And don't mind, this can never be 100% every time. There has to be some noise in that, and it can never be 100% accurate. So again, if you can just click on quick test, this is where you can browse some local files for which iteration do you want to do that. So you can do that, and you can just browse on these local files. So it also gives you an API. If you, let's say if you have your own customized website, so you can just take that API from here and then use it. So for example, see here, there's an endpoint, there's a key which you can, I think, if you are into web development, you can now know how to link this to your application, right? So it is as simple as it is. So मैंने कोई कोड नहीं किया आपके सामने, मैंने आपके सामने अभी एक आध इमेजेस को अपलोड करके मैं ट्रेन कर रहा हूँ इधर, एंड कोई कोड करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है मुझे, राइट? सी इट इज़ स्टिल ट्रेनिंग, इट विल टेक सम टाइम बिकॉज इमेजेस है ना, तो ट्रेनिंग में टाइम लेगा, एंड मैंने फ्री टायर भी चूज़ किया, सो कंप्यूट मुझे कम ही अलॉट किए होंगे, तो इसीलिए वो थोड़ा सा टाइम ले रहा है अभी. सो एज इट फिनिशेस विल गिव यू ग्रीन टिक एंड आस्क यू टू डू अ क्विक टेस्ट. So this is how you create a simple custom vision resource on Microsoft Azure. I mean, you can go ahead now and then just play around with it, and then see how you can inculcate new things. So before this is the last thing I guess I have to tell you. So as I said, Power Platform, Microsoft Power Apps. I'll just show you one Power App, very simple one that I had created for one of the webinar long back. So this is how your simple Power App interface looks like. So you have 3 applications. You can create one from blank. You can have a model-driven app from blank. You can create a portal from blank. So these are all the apps that our ambassadors have done, and they have published it on this place. So let me just go to apps, and I think this is something that I did at a college called Nitte. So I'll just take that up, and it's a mobile application. You can shift it to your mobile as well. So I won't go into much depth of how I created this, because it will take some time as well. So if you have to just click on this view in MR, I cannot do this on my PC definitely, but I can do it on my uh, mobile for sure. So I can just place a pineapple on my table. I can just place a quill on my table. I can just place a raspberry on my table, tomato, umbrella. I can just place a jacket, or I can just place a whole earth on my table just like that. So all these things can be done here. And if you want to see how Power Platform looks like, so yes, so this is the Microsoft's Power Platform. And this is also a very handy tool for any developer out there. So you can just go to return to workplace, return to school. There are solutions available. Let me just sign in to my place. Yeah, this leads you to invite, but it's fine. So let's see which companies out there are using. For example, H&M is using Power Apps. See, they are using Power Apps. Black Morris is using. EY is using Power Apps. A lot of organizations out there are using Power Apps. And if you want, you can just take a certification exams on all these resources that I just spoke about. For example, Power App has PL 900, which is one of the most common thing that I've seen people usually take it. So as I said, the four major key points here. The first one is Power BI, so the key services. First one is the Power BI. Second one is the Power Apps. Third one is the Power Automate. Fourth one is the Power Virtual Agents. So you can create your virtual agents like just like this without even writing a piece of code. So on my right hand side is something that what they have done here. They have just written a simple English and the functions are already inbuilt. And here you go, you have your bot already ready and up and ready for your deployment as well. So something similar you can do with your Microsoft Azure Health Bot as well. Do check out the learning path for the same. And yeah, I mean, this is how you can utilize nor a mentor, nothing. I just went to YouTube and then started searching for a few videos, and then I referred Microsoft Docs, and then something, like trial and error is something that worked out for me. And it wasn't like मैंने किसी किताब से पढ़ा या फिर मैंने किसी एक ब्लॉग साइट से पढ़ा, ऐसे कभी नहीं होता है. आपको खुद जाके बैठना होता है वहाँ पे, एंड आपको खुद ही से सब चीज़ें करनी होती हैं, राइट? सो जैसे मैं बैठा था, मेरा पहला असाइनमेंट था मुझे कि यार आईओटी से एक बॉट को लिंक करो. ठीक है, एक डिजास्टर रेस्क्यू बॉट है जहाँ पे आपको जाके आईओटी से लिंक करना है. तो अब इसमें क्या आता है, अब इसमें लो डेटा चाहिए मुझे, क्योंकि यार बॉट ऐसे डिजास्टर स्टक एरिया पे जा रहा है, राइट? तो मुझे वहां पे जाके मैं ये नहीं कर सकता हूँ कि पावर ज़्यादा चाहिए, डेटा पैकेट ज़्यादा चाहिए ट्रांसमिशन के लिए, वो मेरे पास ऑप्शन ही नहीं रहता. सो आई यूज दिस IoT hub, and then I use some blink thing, and then finally it worked for me, and that was the most satisfying moment you can ever find. If you're working on something and that finally works for you, that's the most satisfying moment. And it just didn't stop there. Even when I was initially this 2.5 years back was the first time I started working with blockchain. And मुझे blockchain का शायद भी नहीं आता था तब, क्या होता है blockchain, क्या है, कैसा है. And resources were also very very limited, because तब वो just, it was a very nascent technology compared to today's resources. Probably back then there was nothing 2.5 years down the line. So मैंने खुद से I started again working. I didn't know what are the options that Azure provides me and how to utilize it as well. क्योंकि कभी कभार क्या होता है, कोई एक आप ब्लॉग पोस्ट फॉलो कर रहे हो, वहाँ पे एरर्स आएंगे, एंड दैट्स व्हेन आवर मोटिवेशन गोस डाउन कि okay, this blog post might not be working now, what will I do? So I would suggest you guys to stick on to your concepts. At that, this is the time you have to stick on to your concepts. Just see, okay, what is the logical way out of here, right? So if this is working like that, so what is the backend that you can give, what is support that you can give to this particular service in order to make it work? And that's it. I mean, it's not a hard, iron shell to crack. It's very easy to crack. So again, wishing you guys all the best for whatever you guys are working on, final year projects, or competitions or anything. Just go ahead and feel free to play around with Microsoft Azure, because I have used all the three clouds. But anytime if someone asks me what is the most favorite cloud that you want to use, like my first solution here would be Microsoft Azure. Because again, मैंने अभी आपको दिखाया था कि क्या क्या सर्विसेज है Microsoft Azure पे, क्या क्या सर्विसेज आपको मार्केट प्लेस में अवेलेबल है, कितने लोगों ने वहाँ पे कंट्रीब्यूशन दिया है. सो इतना वैरायटी आपको कहीं पे भी शायद ही मिले. शायद ही any on these clouds you can find it, because you will have to sit and do your own things, but here you have things ready for you यार, मतलब आप लोगों को चीजें ऑलरेडी रखी हैं उधर, बस उठा लो और खा लो बस, that is the thing you have to do. So again, wishing you guys all the very best, and I would like to thank you all for bearing me for this whole 1.5 hour boring session होगा या फिर I don't know how was it. I just told you whatever I could. And then again, special thanks to Raja for inviting me. I absolutely loved interacting with all of you. And again, wishing you all the best and thanks a lot. Over to you, Raja.
Shreyan, it was an awesome, I must say, it was a very great power dosage of all these amazing technologies ranging from Azure to Microsoft Power Platform. Power Platform has always been very close to myself as well. So, thanks for shedding light on each and every topic. Now, just taking it to the next level. Actually, just going through the demographics of the joint participants, I just came to know that most of the participants here are from the very, you can say, the very first semester, and most of them are the freshers. So maybe they just go and, due to this power dosage, they will just go and crash their heads here and there that how what we have learned and what sort of things do. So इस हवाले से मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि श्रेयान, थोड़ा सा आप ये भी बताएं कि यानी बैक देन व्हेन यू वर इन योर सोफोमोर ईयर और व्हेन यू वर अ फ्रेशर, आपने टेक्नोलॉजी को कैसे सीखा एंड व्हाट वाज योर टेक ऑन दैट, सो टेकिंग आउट.
Okay. So yeah, I would like to tell that journey. Like, okay, I wasn't from a CSC background, so मुझे I took up bio in my 12th standard. So यहाँ पे we actually study 4 major subjects in before joining the university, and mine was physics, chemistry, maths, and finally it was biology. So nowhere related to computer science. So मुझे programming language कुछ नहीं आती थी. Like I had nothing in hand. And then when I entered my first year of engineering, I had met this wonderful friend of mine back then, and then he helped me initially कि यार hackathons करते हैं. In fact, it was because of him I initially started participating in the hackathons. Then eventually it became an obsession, like any hackathon I would love to go and participate for that. And coming to the technical aspect, so don't be intimidated. I mean, many of you might be when I spoke all these things, many of you might be intimidated कि यार ये कैसे हो सकता है, इतना मुझे कुछ नहीं आता है. So don't be intimidated. Start from basics. And first things first, you have to differentiate here between two branches. So firstly, there is a competitive branch, so which is what we call as CP, competitive programming, Hacker Earth, Code Chef, Lead Code, n number of platforms out there. And then there is another field which you call as purely development. So both actually go hand in hand, I can say, because if you have a good base of a programming language, you can literally develop anything using that same knowledge base, and then just adding a few more tech stack to that, you can just build new things. But again, depending on what you like, because some people absolutely love competitive coding, they love to take those five stars on code chef, and at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of your fourth year, or end of your third year, you will be exposed to your placements as well. And that is when your competitive programming will definitely help you a lot, because SDE roles, software development engineering roles, are pretty much common for freshers when compared to other roles. Definitely जो जिस रोल पे मैं हूँ अभी KPMG इंडिया में, that is nothing to do with software development, but still I'll need some basics of that in order to accomplish my task that they assigned me. But again, there are roles apart from SDs as well. But again, आप लोगों को थोड़ी सी बहुत मेहनत करनी होगी कि आपको वो रोल मिले. But what I would suggest is firstly go through your basic foundation. Your foundation must be really strong enough to understand, let's say, what is a loop, what is a construct, or what is a recursion, or what is dynamic programming. Dynamic programming is really helpful to you when you build some huge applications out there, and the paradigms function, what is a functional paradigm, and stuff like that. Go through all these basic concepts. Although you might not be interested to get a 5 star on code chef, don't mind if you're not able to get a 5 star. don't be disheartened on that, because that is something you can do. जो शौक होता है ना वो उसके लिए कर सकते हो आप लोग. But at the end of the day, what matters to companies, to anyone, is how you perform in their interviews. That is something that matters. चाहे आप 5 star हो, चाहे आप 10 star लेके बैठे हो, that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day they'll ask you a question, and आप कितने creatively उसको approach करोगे, that is something that matters. Because I was asked, I was asked a few years back, I think an year ago, how do you sort, and like he had given me an array, and then उसमें बहुत सारे jumbled sequences थे, but in that sequence as well there was an ascending order sequence, which was the longest one. So I was supposed to find that one and print it out on the screen. So it is as simple as this. So firstly you have to apply your human logic. So if keeping your programming language skills aside, your programming skills aside, how will you approach this solution if you were to solve it without even coding, right? So आपका जो लॉजिक है आप पहले उसको अप्लाई करो, एंड उस लॉजिक के हिसाब से दैट विल बी अ skeleton. Now your logic is a skeleton. Based on that, write a code, because writing a code is just what you do. You interact with your computer, right? It's as simple as that. All you do is just like build upon that skeleton and you're good to go. That's what matters at the end of the day. And coming to the development side, that was all you have to do if you have to get into the competitive aspect of that. But let's say if you want to get into the developing side, so trust me, hackathons, I suggest, would be the great learning platform for anyone out there. There are variety of hackathons. Some span from 1 day, and they go all the way till 3-4 months. And then there are many more subcategories in that, league hackathons, and many more categories. And then some are conducted by companies out there, for example American Express, Microsoft, and many healthcare companies like GE, and Google also does a few hackathons, and many more companies get into that. Even KPMG has hosted a few hackathons as well, and Schneider Electric stuff, companies like these. So I would suggest that hackathons would be the first and foremost thing that you can focus on. Although you might feel intimidated, मुझे कुछ नहीं आता है, ठीक है यार, कुछ नहीं आता है तो ठीक है, आप सीख जाओगे on the way. So you'll have time there, you'll have time out there, like let's say 1 month of time. पहले एक प्रोजेक्ट डिसाइड कर लो. दिस इज हाउ आई वुड टेक द स्टेप. सो in my beginning year, my first project, I decided, okay, yeah, this is the first project that I have to do. Let's say I have to make a voting machine on blockchain, voting system on blockchain, right? So first thing what I need, I have to learn blockchain. What is blockchain? मुझे at least basics आना चाहिए उसके, ताकि मैं understand कर पाऊँ कि इसमें क्या कैसे होता है, without using a cloud, with simple development around there. एंड देन मुझे नेक्स्ट फेज क्या था, ओके नाउ मुझे ब्लॉकचेन आया, मुझे ब्लॉकचेन के साथ हैंड्स ऑन करना है. सो वेन एवर यू आर लर्निंग अ न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी, आई वुड सजेस्ट गो हैड एंड यूज इट हैंड्स ऑन. लाइक जैसे आप कुछ पढ़ रहे हो उसको करके देखो कि हाँ जैसे वो बोल रहे हैं वैसे हो रहा है कि नहीं. इफ इट इज नॉट हैपनिंग, sit for some time and think, why is it not happening? Definitely internet has solutions for everything. Stack Overflow is a great platform where everyone has faced this problem sometime when they were trying it as well, and they were generous enough to go out there and comment out, and even they've solved the solution as well. Many of the times when I was stuck in my data science problem, I have got my solutions from Stack Overflow, how to resolve that issue. So ऐसे ही आप लोग, this is the second step. So okay, मैं हैंड्स ऑन करूंगा उसको, जो मैंने पढ़ा है मैं उसको हैंड्स ऑन करूंगा. नाउ व्हेन दिस इज ओवर, now then this is when you'll have to move on to the next phase, that is think of what was your idea and how can you align your tool to this particular learning that you have done, sorry, your idea what you have. So linking is the next thing what you can do. Link your idea and your tool together, and this will work wonders for you. Trust me guys, I mean, I'm telling this to out of my own experience. This will work wonders for you, right? Link those tools together. And then finally work on your presentation skills if you're working for hackathons, right? Presentation is at most important, because चाहे आपका प्रोडक्ट कितना भी अच्छा ना हो, बट अगर आपका प्रेजेंटेशन उतना अच्छा नहीं गया ना, तो डेफिनेटली इट विल हिंडर योर idea somewhere. Presentation should also be to the point. You shouldn't overkill anything, you shouldn't underkill anything, it should be to the point. That's when it becomes an impressive idea. अगर नमक किसी खाने में थोड़ा ज़्यादा है थोड़ा कम हो, तो वो खाना कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ ही दिखेगा आपको, राइट? सो that's what I would suggest. Go ahead and start doing. I mean, you might fall 100 times, but definitely you'll learn how to stand up on your own. So let's say if you want to get started with Azure, what I did today. So I would suggest you to go to Microsoft Learn first, right? Microsoft Learn is a great platform, and उसमें कुछ ऐसे there is this learning path which is for 9 hours. That is the first and foremost learning path that I would like you to take. So that's called Azure Fundamentals. You can go out there, just go through the topic once. There are a lot of theoretical things जो मैंने आपको थोड़ी थोड़ी समझाई है, उन्होंने बहुत डीपली समझा, and that's why that's the reason why it is for 9 hours, right? So you can learn everything. जैसे कैपेक्स ओपेक्स कॉस्ट मैंने सेशन के शुरुआत में बताया था, वो भी है. And then how to deploy a basic website is also there in that learning path. Azure gives you a simple sandbox which you can use and do it hands on. So I would recommend you guys to go ahead and start using it. Or let's say you are too much attracted by this Power Apps platform that I showed you. Again, go ahead to Microsoft. There's a learning, there's a search bar. Just type Microsoft Learn, and you'll get to know what is that. And they have explained from detail, especially for the learners. That Microsoft Learn is especially for the learners, like newbies like you, who have just entered the college, or who have just finished their pre-university course or something like that. It is specially for them. So don't be scared, just go ahead and try it out. If you fail, you can always network to people. You can network out to your seniors, you can reach out to your seniors, or you can reach out to people on the forum, social forums, and get it done. So that's how get started.
Exactly. Exactly, Shreyan, as I have told you earlier, that we do have a lot of focus on development side rather than CP and all that stuff. Indeed, the folks don't have any IDs on all these amazing platforms like CodeChef and all that stuff. So I must say our national landscape lags here, और हमारे यहाँ यानी there's not much focus on competitive, so this is the main thing. Anyhow, for all these juniors, we do have some roadmaps developed right at our society as well. So we, as you know, that we do have our newly inducted cabinet. So we are just planning for some of the local hackathons on our campus as well. Maybe some of the sponsored one from Microsoft or from Data Camp and all that stuff. So Imagine Cup is also heading. It's drawing very near. The deadline is 30th of January. So folks, I just suggest and recommend you all to do participate there. और आज तो श्रेयान ने यानी बिल्कुल ही पावर एप्स आप लोगों को इंट्रोड्यूस करवा दी हैं, तो यानी आप लोग उस पर काम कर सकते हैं. इसके अलावा यानी जो भी हमारा हैकाथॉन होगा यूईटी में, डीसीएससी में, आप उसके लिए वो यूज़ कर सकते हैं. यानी इट्स जैसे श्रेयान ने कहा ना, सब कुछ टेबल पे पड़ा है, आपने जस्ट खाना है. तो वही सीन्स हैं कि आपने पावर प्लेटफॉर्म को यूज़ करते हुए इमेजिन कप में भी आप पार्टिसिपेट करें. अगेन इमेजिन कप रियली shows edge towards those who have some Microsoft technologies into core of their projects. और बाकी ये है कि अगेन किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन हो बैचमेट्स में, दानियाल, हरीरा, रिगार्डिंग प्लेसमेंट्स एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. जूनियर ईयर लैड्स में हमारे साथ वलियाँ हैं, माजिद हैं, राफ़े. इफ़ यू फोक्स हैव एनी क्वेश्चन रिगार्डिंग एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग लाइक फ्रॉम अच्छा श्रेयान, इस हवाले से भी बताइएगा. वी डू हैव सम क्वेश्चंस लाइक के व्हाट इज़ दी वर्क कल्चर, और व्हाट इज़ दी you can say the 360 degrees of software industry at Bangalore. We all know pretty well that it is regarded as the Silicon Valley of East. So can we have a bit on that as well?
Yeah, sure. I mean, जैसे work culture as such, it's nothing like, I mean, we are already familiar with how communities go through. It's something similar to the same, like how we go through in our Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors community. It's something similar to that. Work culture as such कुछ special नहीं है. You will be, and now तो there is actually no, you cannot experience that work culture because things have gone to a online mode, the virtual mode as well. And of course, there are a lot of IT parks in Bangalore. I mean, wherever you go, you can find a small tech company out there, a startup, or be it a huge brand like Facebook or anything like that. In fact, when I'd gone to my office a few days back to collect a few things, so I could see that the whole area was surrounded by tech parks. And in fact, Microsoft was one of the company there. Facebook was there, Google भी था. So बहुत सारे ऐसे companies हैं. The tech parks look very good, like and the ambience out there is pretty good, and even the office staff. And the best part is you don't have any kind of this, sir, ma'am kind of thing. So it's just like, all are equal, all are working towards the same goal, all are working towards the same thing of, betterment of your firm, whatever firm you're working with. And bas yahi, and you get assigned to your project managers, and then they lead you. You have a technical mentor as well. If you're stuck somewhere, they'll help you out. And I guess that's pretty much of it, and there's nothing special about work culture here, kyunki abhi there used to be a lot more diverse work culture, like some small functions, for example, any small festivity, there used to be a small function organized in the office. But as we said, from the past 2.5 years, the whole world is turned upside down, and then everything is just virtual. You have to uh, have anything. I'm sorry, I just got a message. Can you suggest any way out to implement a Linux based file system which is programmed in C on Azure? Yeah, definitely, Valia, you can go out and try the compute services, in which you will be having different varieties of compute services. When you go to provision a compute service, it will ask you what kind of OS do you want. For example, the recent one I worked with was Ubuntu version 18 point something, right? So you can go ahead and just provision a machine there for you, and then you can start working, and you can develop a thing in whatever you want, like, C based on or anything like that. So go ahead to the compute section, create a resource, deploy that resource, and then just get started with it. That's as simple as that.
Okay, so hopefully my screen is visible to all of you. Shreyan, actually, we do have some freshers, so we just have created that's a sort of an alternative, a free alternative to Kahoot. So,
Mm-hmm.
if it's feasible for you, अगर late हो रहा है आपको तो we can bed off the session first and then we can come back to this, or is it okay?
No problem, you can carry on.
Okay, actually, it's more oriented towards you can say the characteristics of our university and all that stuff. So just we wanted to test their knowledge up till now. Okay, अच्छा जी. So here's the link. I have pasted it in the chat as well. So in case आप लोगों के पास भी time है, so we can have an interactive quiz. You can log into this, joinmyquiz.com. I have pasted the link as well. उस वेबसाइट पे आप लोग चले जाएंगे और then you have this, enter this game code. I'll be pasting it here. If we do have some folks majority joining, then we'll go for it, otherwise we'll drop it. Do we have some folks joining this, or should we drop this? श्रेयान, मुझे लगता है कि मेरे जूनियर्स को जो है ना, आपने बहुत ज़्यादा ब्रेनस्टॉर्म कर दिया है, and they'll just now go and they'll just going to dent in the world.
शायद एजर डेटा सेंटर पे ना लोड ज़्यादा पड़ने वाला है.
Exactly. So most probably folks have joined through mobile. So letting it go away, inshallah we'll have this in our interactive session of computer society, or maybe when we will introduce you to the Microsoft and the Google clubs there at campus. Okay, so just let it go away. Rather, the conversation was more great, I must say. So Valia, Daniel, Harira, Rafe, do you have any questions, Majid, or anything else? Are we good to adjourn this? Okay, so nothing more, nothing less. Shreyan, again, it's an honor for us having you again and again. Actually, Shreyan has been really helpful for me as well, personally. He has overviewed the different technologies which we can Azure, which we can use in our FYP. in the Azure. So again, thanks, lad, and we wish you the very best for your endeavors at KPMG. And again, this is not the very end. You can achieve much more in your career ahead. And wishing you all the very best. And don't be intimidated by all these technologies. All these come by just practice, as Tian mentioned again and again. And inshallah, maybe in some months coming ahead down the lane, we can invite him again at campus. That would be a very interactive session. And again, Shreyan, it's been very nice to have you, and thanks for your valuable time. uh, it's all okay, and namaskaram. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, Raja. Thanks a lot for having me and wishing you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.